These photos were not made with the $100,000 camera that Peter McKinnon showed in last week's video. And no, we're not out here shooting shotguns because I don't have one. And another no, this video is not sponsored by Artlist. All the sound effects and music you're hearing are technically sponsored by me because I'm the one that pays the subscription to Epidemic Sound to keep your attention with sound design and music. What we are here to do is looking for props so that I can show you how to get the best photos possible with your starter camera and the 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens. And yes, you might have noticed, I have it on backwards. All right, this is way too much snow and I am not finding the props that I was looking for. So let's head back down the mountain where hopefully it's not as cold and I can find something to photograph with my lens on backwards. Alright, so let's be clear. Reversing a lens is nothing new. This has been a thing since Curiosity was a thing. I know the video from this is not the best quality. It's only 1080 and it's at 20 frames a second. And I hope I get some good video that you can see what I'm doing here. But the world within a world, I mean macro like this, is just really, really cool. Ooh, all right, it is cold as autofocus in here and I got pretty much everything I need. I'm gonna set up this studio here. Like you can see, it's just a tent, a canvas roof, and I have this white background. I think I can use it to reflect light. First, I need to set up a couple of things. Oh, it's not warm today. I even got Bambi in here, but I brought a heater for her. Hi, Bambi. Hey, are you warm enough? I got a heater right here for her. These are some of the props I found earlier and I have some ideas that I think are gonna look really, really cool. But for now, let me set things up and then I'll bring you back to not waste much of your time. I used to do this a lot about 10 years ago before I bought a dedicated macro, and you could just hold the lens, invert the lens like this. It was difficult, it wasn't easy because you're holding it. So at one point I even decided taping it, and then you can get really close and not have to worry about holding it or dust going in the sensor. One of you guys asked me in the comments if this was still a thing. So Jorge Torres, thank you very much for reminding me about this and for asking for this particular video. Now, I don't know all the tricks, so I did a lot of research, and that's where I found this little ring. It's an inversion ring. I bought this they make them for every camera. You just have to make sure you get the right mount, because this is a Canon EF mount. That's what this is. It's an EF mount. And then it has the right filter thread. This is a 58 millimeter filter. So you screw that thing on, screw the adapter to the filter thread, and then you line up the little dots here with the dots on the camera. And just like that, you have the lens that's mounted. It's not gonna fall, it's not gonna move. It cost me about $10. You can really get some extreme macro. And when I'm talking extreme, look at this mushroom right here. It's the size of my, not even the size of my pinky. Now, let me be clear, this is not easy by any means. There are many challenges, so let's get to those right now. Well, you can see the lens is on backwards, so that's what talks to the camera. The camera doesn't know that there's a lens attached to it. And the other thing is everything is backwards. When you have the lens backwards, it works the opposite, obviously. So if it's a 18 millimeter, it's gonna be a lot closer than when it's a 55. If you think about it, the insides are flipped. So the zoom out is actually gonna zoom in. So it kind of messes with your head a little bit. See, you can adjust your zoom. Focusing is also manual because there's no connection, there's no talking from the lens to the camera. focusing is going to happen very close to your subject, which is going to fill the frame very quickly. So you have to be really close, like extremely close to whatever you're photographing, which requires small subjects. If they're too big, you're not going to fit them in the frame, and it's going to be difficult. So look for small subjects, look for small objects, something interesting. The lens is inverted, you can't talk to the camera, so you can change the aperture by flipping it over like this, changing the aperture, just like any other time you change the aperture on the camera. Remember, the aperture is inside of your lens. The camera controls it, but it's inside of your lens. So in this case, I can change it to f11, which is the sweet spot for the lens. Even when it's inverted, it should give me the best quality possible, in my opinion. Now, that brings another challenge. The camera doesn't know that you changed the aperture, because once, okay, so it's at f11, I flip it around, it's gonna stay at f11. The aperture is set inside of the lens, so that's not gonna change. But the camera doesn't know that. So on your screen, when you go to live view, your photos it's gonna look completely dark unless you overexpose. So the thing that I'm finding is that I have to change, overexpose it by like 5 stops so that I could see what I'm focusing on, and then bring it back down. So I took a mental note of the shutter speed is 1/13, but I need to readjust the focus for every photo, which is not the easiest with this lens. When you have it on a tripod, you're focused, you're trying to do everything, you're gonna be 4 or 5 stops overexposed, because the difference from f3.5 to f11 is quite a few stops. So you have to overexpose, focus, make sure you got the focus as good as you want it, underexpose, or go back, use your camera metering system right here, and then you can take the photo. So that whole aperture thing, that is not terrible. You can live with it. You just have to overexpose, get your focus, and then underexpose and take the photo, which is fine. You know, I have a 180 macro that I could use with the R5 with this adapter, but this is extreme macro. And obviously not every photo is a winner. To get something sharp and in good focus, you have to stack the photos. Canon R5, I can set how many photos I want, of what kind of increments and focus stacking, and it'll just do 35, 50, 250 photos of the same subject, changing the focus plane by very small increments. Then you just have to take that into Lightroom, adjust your photos, open as layers in Photoshop. You go to edit, auto align layers so they're all aligned in case of any movements, and then edit photo stack, and it spits out a very sharp image. Easy. Like I said, this lens does not talk to the camera, so you can't do that with this setup. You have to do it manually. If you change the aperture, you're gonna have to overexpose, focus, underexpose, or find the right exposure, take a photo, overexpose again, change your focus, drop the exposure again, picture, and do that 5 or 6 times, which I did with all of these photos. It's not that difficult, it just takes time. You know, for 10 bucks, it's a great exercise. It'll teach you a lot about focusing, a lot about details, a lot about composition, because it's gonna take so long to get one good photo that you're really gonna pay attention to all these steps. Anytime you use a macro lens, you're so close to your subject that the light, you need a lot of light. So in this case, I found a flash is ideal. If you have a flash, that's great. Diffuser, you could take a piece of paper, let me see where's, and you know, bend it like this and put the flash here to the side. It'll light up everything beautifully. Or 2 lume cubes. I got these 2 little lume cubes. I can set them like this. Believe it or not, they are out of the way because the mushroom is right here in the middle. Lighting is even, and it just looks really cool. Trying to go outdoors and do it with natural light, it's almost impossible. Even outside, I was using these. And now the details on Extreme Macro are unique, so I don't think there's a lot of images like this in the stock agency. So your chances of selling might be a little bit higher if the photo is clear, sharp, and with good focus. Not everything is perfect. When you go to stacking the images, Photoshop has a hard time. I know there's other programs. I didn't want to buy another program, so I just used Photoshop and Affinity Pro that I have, and this is the best they could do, but they still had some issues. A setup like this for 10 bucks is not the easiest thing in the world because everything is manual, but I highly recommend it. I think it's totally worth it. I'm going to put an affiliate link down here in the video description where you can purchase the ring. Like I said, you don't have to buy what's on the link, and anything you buy through those links, Amazon gives me a small commission, so I really do appreciate it because that helps me keep the channel afloat. The other thing I wanted to do was thank you guys for asking for videos like this because it inspires me. Going back to basics with a setup like this is like I felt like a little kid in Christmas time, relearning everything because I forgot all about this. I didn't even know there was a ring like this. So thank you guys for bringing that back, for giving me the practice to learn something new. That video, making this video, inspired me to go out and make this photo, a different style of macro. So if you're interested in learning something like this, let me know in the comments. And if I get enough people, then I'll make another video explaining the process as to get this photograph. But again, I'm learning. I hope I can share what I'm learning with you guys, and I really do appreciate the support. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you did not watch Peter McKinnon's video about the $100,000 camera setup, I'll leave that video here in the end as well. And that's it. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.